The book that I will be reading is called Growing Up Pedro by Matt Twalvers. It's a book about a young boy from the Dominican Republic who fulfills his dream about entering the Major League Baseball field in the United States. It says, the Dominican Republic, 1981. One day in the village of Mongombio, Pedro Martinez sits in the shade and watches older boys play. He wants to play too. His big brother, Raymond, says he's too little. The boys are using a hard ball, and Raymond says it's too dangerous. Pedro is mad, but he knows Raymond is just looking out for him. Raymond is always looking out for Pedro. Despite his anger, Pedro wants Raymond to pitch. He is the greatest pitcher Pedro has ever seen. Pedro has 3 brothers and 2 sisters. Raymond is the oldest and the baseball star of the family. Pedro wishes he were tall like Raymond. He wishes he could throw hard like Raymond. He spends hours behind the little shack where he lives throwing rocks at the mango trees. He tries to hit only the ripe ones, just like Raymond taught him. Pedro loves playing baseball. He dreams that someday he and his brothers will play together in the major leagues. At night, they lie awake to a mattress and talking about what they will do when they are millionaires. At the time Raymond is 15, he is pitching against grown men in games around Santo Domingo. Sometimes Pedro walks for miles just to watch him pitch. At 16, Raymond is the youngest player on the Dominican national team. The Los Angeles Dodgers offer him a contract. They pay him $5,000, not much by a big league standard, but more than Martinez's family has ever seen. Raymond uses some of the money to put his little brother Pedro his first real baseball glove. In 1984, when Pedro is 12, Raymond starts training at Campos Los Plumas, the Dodgers Dominican Baseball Academy, a 2-hour bus ride from Mongombio, where everything changes. Every chance he gets, Pedro tags along. Sometimes he even gets to play catch with Raymond on the field before practice. For Pedro, it is like a dream. He can't believe he is on a real baseball field with real professional baseball players. He is so proud of his big brother. One day, a coach for the Dodgers watches Pedro pitch to Raymond. The coach tells Pedro that if he works hard, maybe someday the Dodgers will sign him too. In 1985, days before his 17th birthday, Raymond leaves for the first season in America. Pedro is so happy for Raymond, but it breaks his heart to see him go. Now that Raymond is gone, Pedro is more determined than ever to make it to the major leagues. Every day, he practices and practices. For Raymond, adjusting to the life in America is not easy. When his team stops to eat at a restaurant, he doesn't know what to order because all the menus are in English. He can't talk to anyone. Raymond tells Pedro all about it. He wants to make sure that when it's Pedro's turn, his little brother is ready. Pedro keeps practicing, and he starts studying English every day. In 1988, when he is 16, Pedro is back at Campo Las Plumas. He is ready to try out for the Dodgers. Dozens of other boys are trying out too. Most of them are much bigger and stronger than Pedro. He works hard and does his best, but the Dodgers scouts aren't sure. He is still so much smaller than Raymond. They worry that he just isn't big enough to make it in the professional baseball. Finally, after a third day tryout, the Dodgers decide to give Pedro a chance. They pay him $6,500. He gives all the money to Raymond. In 1990, the Dodgers assigned Pedro to their minor league team in Great Falls, Montana. Pedro says goodbye to his family and leaves for America. Now, Raymond is a star in the big leagues, the act of the Los Angeles Dodgers. In 1990, he wins 20 games and is the runner-up for the National League Cy Young Award. Some of Pedro's teammates in the minors think Pedro is only there because he is the great Raymond Martinez's little brother. Pedro works hard to prove that he belongs. He keeps working on his English too. During long bus rides, he stares out the window and tries to read every road sign. He tries to read every road sign. He learns new words every day. Before long, he can do post-game interviews in English without an interpreter. Pedro races his way up through the Dodgers minor league system. Then, in September 1992, his dream comes true. For the first time in his life, Pedro gets to play on the same team as his big brother. Pedro and Raymond are major leagues together. Pedro is so small and skinny that when he arrives at the Dodgers stadium, the security guard doesn't believe he is actually on the team. "Hey, who are you?" he asks. Pedro smiles and says, "I'm the Bat Boy," he says. The security guard isn't the only one who thinks Pedro is too small. The Dodgers manager, Tommy Lazzardo, doesn't think Pedro is big enough to make it as a starting pitcher. So Pedro pitches out of the bullpen and quickly becomes one of the best rivalries in the league. After 1993 season, Pedro gets a call from the general manager of the Dodgers. He can't believe the news. He has been traded to the Montreal Expos. At first, Pedro is devastated. He doesn't want to leave Raymond and move to a new city where he doesn't know anybody. He worked so hard to learn English, and most people in Montreal speak French. Raymond calms Pedro down. He tells his little brother that maybe this could be good for him. The Dodgers were never going to let him be a starting pitcher. Maybe in Montreal he'll get the chance. It turns out that Raymond is right. Pedro goes to Montreal in 1994 and immediately joins the starting rotation. Every time he takes the mound, he remembers everyone who doubted him. With every pitch, he tries to prove them wrong. Whenever the Expos play the Dodgers and Raymond pitches against Pedro's team, Pedro can't help but cheer for his big brother. When his teammates ask him to knock it off, Pedro sneaks down to the clubhouse and watches Raymond on the TV. On August 29, 1996, Pedro and Raymond are scheduled to pitch against each other. Pedro does not want to do it. He never wants to root against Raymond. Raymond explains to Pedro that it is just something they've got to do. Pedro and Raymond both pitch well. As Raymond takes the mound in the 9th inning with the Dodgers leading 2-1, he sees Pedro in the Expos dugout. Pedro smiles, relieved that it's almost over and happy to lose to his big brother. By 1997, Pedro is the best pitcher in the National League, even better than Raymond. He can throw a 97-mile-per-hour fastball, a curveball that makes hitters' knees buckle, and a changeup that's almost impossible to hit. Pedro is a superstar now. The Expos know that they can't afford to pay him. So a week after he wins the 1997 National League CY Young Award, they trade him to the Boston Red Sox. In December, Pedro files to Boston and signs a 6-year, $75 million contract with the Red Sox, making him the highest paid baseball player of all time. In the summer of 1998, on days when Pedro pitches, the streets of Boston buzz with appreciation. By the game time, Fenway Park is packed. Fans wave Dominican flags and chant his name, Pedro, Pedro, Pedro. By 1998, it is not a good year for Raymond. Pitching for the Dodgers on June 14th, he tears a muscle in his shoulder. The team doctor tells him he needs surgery. Raymond worries that he might never pitch again. Pedro tells his big brother not to give up. After his operation on June 30th, Raymond spends the rest of the season working to rebuild the strength in his injured shoulder and watching his little brother on television. On days when it is not his turn to pitch, Pedro never stops talking and dancing and laughing and joking with his teammates. On nights to get him to settle down, his teammates tape him to a pole in the dugout. Pedro loves every minute of it, but when it is his turn to pitch, Pedro is very serious. All day he is quiet and focused. When he takes the mound, he imagines he is a lion fighting for his food. In 1999, Pedro has one of the greatest seasons any pitcher has ever had. He wins 15 games before the All-Star break. He is the starting pitcher in the All-Star game and dazzles the home crowd at Fenway Park by striking out 5 of the 6 batters he faces. Meanwhile, Raymond is working hard to get back on the field. Late in 1999 season, he makes it all the way back to the major leagues and joins Pedro on the Red Sox. During the game, they sit together in the dugout. They coach each other and help each other. With his big brother by his side, Pedro is better than ever. On October 9th, 1999, with the Red Sox facing elimination from the playoffs, Raymond leads the team to a victory over the Cleveland Indians and keeps Boston's season alive. 2 days later, in the final game of the series, Pedro's right shoulder is so sore he isn't supposed to pitch. But with the score tied 8-8 in the 4th inning, he enters the game. Even though he can't lift his arm up high enough to throw a good fastball, he pitches 6 no-hit innings to send the Red Sox to the American League Championship Series. Back in the Dominican Republic, people dance in the streets. Kids tie straps of metal to their bikes and ride them through the darkness. Sparks light up the night like fireworks. After the season, Pedro celebrates with his family. The little shack is gone now. Pedro and Raymond bought all the land around it and built a special place where the whole family can come together. They call it La Finca, the little farm. After dinner, Pedro and Raymond walk out back to throw rocks at the mango tree. Together, they hit one mango after another. Pedro hits only the ripe ones, just like Raymond taught him. That is the end of Growing Up Pedro. As you can see, it's a very inspirational story of how you're supposed to follow your dreams and take yourself to a new place if you set your mind to it. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you.